Previously on the Curse of Silverthorn.
The party turned up to a tournament in a city and then was waylaid by a messenger of the king, so Sir James believes anyway, about something they need to go and help with about silver up at a place called Silverthorn, which was in the north or the south. We weren't quite sure which, but we got on a boat which had terrible services. There was hardly anywhere to sleep but anyway, we put all our horses on the boat and all our mules and everything, and we proceeded up the river, but at a very slow pace, because the staff aren't pushing hard enough, and there's giggling coming from all around as the sun goes down, and I have called everybody to arms because I like fighting, and that's where we got to.
Indeed. So this giggling seems very suspicious, but also Aelithier, being an elf, actually is aware of what this is. These are fairies, but we're not talking about Tinkerbell fairies. We are talking about vicious pixies that love to injure and maim humans for the glee of it. And these things can be dangerous and hard to deal with. And so everyone is starting to try and take some precautions in response to what is happening. The giggling had just built to a particular height, and then I need to roll a dice to determine what character this will happen to. And first of all, I'll roll a destiny dice right here to see if it'll happen to the player characters or an NPC. And so this will be the first roll. So it's going to be happening to an NPC based on this roll, because a higher roll on the Destiny dice means positive results to the characters. Then I shall roll again. Okay. So as the giggling happens, roll a perception. In fact, if you have higher, roll a reflex check. This is just pure reflex. So it's base of 3 plus any points in reflex that you have. And just roll that. I shall roll for you, Sir James. You got a 1, Sir James.
Don't I get 5? Did I get 5? I got perception.
Oh, this was just a reflex roll. Yeah, this is only reflex. Yeah.
Okay.
1.
I've got 2.
2? And
2.
2? Okay, so Aether and Talon, you actually see a soft glow seem to appear out of the darkness, then dart like an arrow, flying right past, directly towards the captain himself. And so I'm just going to need to do a quick kind of roll to see the. Okay, that was 4 wins for something that you are unaware of, and this was the captain's result. All right, so this thing seemed to have darted like an arrow, and it's just this weird glow blur that only Aelithier and Taylor notice, and it comes in very fast and flies right towards the captain. The captain seems to react, just like throwing his head like something went right, like, what was that? But that reaction caused the thing to literally miss his head and fly past back into the darkness. But as that thing passed, you heard a giggle coming in and then kind of crescendo as it flew over the barge and then fade off again. And the captain's like, what the bloody hell was that?
Yeah,
Whose accent keeps changing for unknown reasons. He might be, I don't know, to have some type of something wrong with the captain, but for some reason his accent keeps changing.
But it's obviously a threat in that direction, so I'll reorient to face in the direction that the threat came from.
Yes. What are you talking about, Talon? Sir, what was it? And the captain's like, the thing, did you see the thing? The thing, I was like, okay, what's going on?
What was it? Yes, actually, I want to, if possible, I'd like to see if I can dive into, again, my knowledge from the Fae, and I know something about that attack or anything that could defend us from it.
Okay, so you are aware that these are fairies, okay? And there are a couple of things that you're aware that fairies don't like, and one being fire. But what was very odd, that fairy flew into the firelight and then left the firelight. That is not their normal behavior. They would usually only risk doing that if something was attracting them.
Yes.
Alethea, do you know what that was? You seem to recognize it. I must have seen it during my many years spent in dark forests.
But what was it, man?
So I'm not sure. I believe it's some sort of, you know, creatures.
Right in the middle of this conversation. Matt, you need to roll a reflex check. So this is base of 3 plus your reflex.
Okay, so I've got a +1 on that, so 4.
Yep. So roll 4.
I got 3.
Okay. As you're talking, you both hear and notice a glow coming from the forest in the same manner that just happened to the captain, but this time this thing is coming straight for you. Okay, but you're aware of it, which means you can actually do a combat roll to try and pass it. Now you can't really use your weapon in this case. This is more just a defensive roll, which means it's going to be 3 plus your attributes, which should be 2, should calculate up to 2. Then I will let you use half of your highest weapon modifier for a combat bonus. So for you, I think you have a +2 in arming sword. Yep, there you go.
Sword and buckler, yeah.
Sword and buckler. All right, so that should be 6 all up, I believe, for your character.
Okay.
And please roll that. And so, for those of you wondering, we're doing a combat roll, but it's kind of a pre-combat roll because Matt is the only one who has been kind of attacked at this point. But he will roll and I will roll, and then it's basically how many wins I get versus how many wins Matt gets to determine the results of this one. So, Matt,
I got 3.
You got 3? Okay. Oh, these are tight rolls. I got a 3 as well, so that means it's dead even, which is as this thing comes in, you are able to react to it in such a way that gets you out of the way. But you get to have the freedom to describe what exactly you do. If you just lunge, duck, pick something up, react, however you like. But you see this glowing thing headed straight to you like an arrow.
I mean, I naturally just block with my hands, sort of deflect.
Okay, so you deflect, but with it coming so close and you being so aware, you actually get a good look at this thing. And it's a person. This person clothed in what looks to be leaves, about yay big. Okay? About this big. It's little, it's literally flying, and it has what looks to be something this long, which is long and very pointy, almost like a giant thorn in its hand.
In its hand?
In its hand. It had a giant spike in its hand, which looked natural, like it was like a really long thorn from a
so it's
vicious
holding
thorn.
it like a weapon. It's not
holding it like holding it like a weapon. But you kind of knock it out of the way as you duck, and then it flies off giggling again.
Okay, so at this point, since I believe that they will see them, I scream. So I draw my sword and I scream to everyone and say, "These are wild fairies coming from the forest. Use iron, fire, and make noise with your shields. Prepare to fight."
Oh, okay. So how do your characters react to that pronunciation?
I run to the mule.
I don't know what they are, but fine. Yes, let's fight. So I'm just prepared to fight, and I start hitting the sword against the shield and making a sort of bashing noise. And
I've got sword and buckler, so yeah, same for me.
I will run to the mule and get cauldron and ladle.
Cauldron and ladle. So, aside to that, what's your character's reaction to this pronunciation of fairies?
Did you say birds, bats, or something? It's probably bats or owls. I'm sure he said owls.
Well, I mean, I've just seen the thing, so I didn't formally believe in these, but I've just seen it with my own eyes.
What did you see, Talon?
It was a fairy, like from the stories.
Are you sure, man?
A small little chap.
Yeah, it flew at me. It was carrying a thorn. It tried to stab me.
Reef. Okay. Well, let's fight then. They should be easy to kill. They're very small.
Surely not fairies. You can't be serious. Wasn't a bird?
Have you never seen these before?
Of course not. What are you, crazy? Fairies don't exist. I refuse to believe it. Oh, the giggling is happening again. And the giggling is now getting louder. There's a number of them. And so you
more noise, I believe, gentlemen, should make a lot of noise.
I drop the ladle and get out my cudgel. Probably better than the ladle.
So the boatmen, when seeing you guys grabbing things to make noise, they start just hitting things whatever they can. The blunt side of their swords on the rail of the barge. They start stamping their feet in the same way as you. And so you were all also making noises as well. So William gets, what was it, a cudgel, and starts
a cudgel in one hand, and I've got the small cauldron in the other, and I'm aiming the mouth of the cauldron at the where an attack might come from, and I'm ready to whack this thing to make noise. And if that something flies at me, it can bloody well fly into the cauldron, and if it does that, it's going to get a very, very severe cudgeling.
So these loud, echoing rings start just resonating from the cauldron with these big bashing, motions that William is doing in a very, very structured and specific way, holding the opening. So James, what were you doing again?
I'm bashing my shield with the pommel of my sword, and I'm trying to get everybody else to sing some kind of rousing song. But nobody seems to know the words that I remember, and I can't quite remember the tune either. So I'm sort of basically making some sort of rather pathetic half attempt at singing some half-remembered song loudly and raucously.
Wonderful. And Alethea, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to lit the torch that I have to the light, so to turn it on. And then at the same time, yes, I make noise. And I also... So my sword is steel, I suppose. So the steel work.
Actually, no. Your sword would have to be. Well, it depends. Actually, it's up to you. Iron burns you like it's scalding hot. Okay, and you hate the smell. It smells like this caustic, really sick. I think in your nose. It's like if you could imagine the smell of really strong rust stuck up your nasal. Okay, constantly. That's the smell that iron makes to you when it's like just in proximity. You can bear it when it's further away, but when it's actually close, that stuff stinks to high heaven to you. And you also get the smell makes you wheezy as well. It depends. Does your character try and put up with that to have a weapon, which means you couldn't touch the actual steel parts? You would have to only use it with the wrapped handle or something. I would be willing to let you have a Fey Silver sword.
No, I'll use a Fey Silver sword.
Okay. So you've got the sword there, and
although I do have a question. So does the Space Silver does it? I want to say luster.
It's bright, it's shiny, it looks very nice.
Right. Okay. Lovely.
Yeah. And I don't know throughout the turmoil and stuff, the intense atmosphere, if your character notices the sword, Talon, but that is the type of thing your character would be like, oh. That's interesting. But I'll get you to roll a perception to see if you notice. So if you could roll a perception.
I mean, I'm taking note of that, obviously, but the main thing on my mind is the current threat. So there are two things that I'm doing. So I have a fencing background, and I'm with my sword and buckler. I'm flourishing them around because I feel that the attack could come from any direction. So I'm turning all around, moving my weapon all around, looking all around. But I also start shouting to the boat crew. Have you ever seen this before?
One of the boat crew is like, only heard voices as it's stomping. Never seen actually ferries. I can't believe there's ferries. And they're making noises and they're freaking out.
The whole time I've been curious about the damage on the barge. So the implication is that that's not caused by the fairies if they've never seen the fairies before.
You could assume that indeed, but they are freaking out. They're not, they're not in a good state, those bargemen. The actual captain is also doing the same thing. He's not knocking the noise. And Finch is just kind of looking, surely it's not true. And he has two knives in his hand, a dagger in each hand. From where you do not know where they came, but he is holding daggers. So with all this noise and the preparation, okay, that noise, that, building noise kind of reached a crescendo, and you don't need to roll a perception because it's hard to miss, because this time it's almost like 30, soft glowing figures start to come out of the shadows in every direction, and there's just a cluster of them all around you, and they have all been flying in. But what happens, oddly this time, is as they get closer and closer, they seem to first reach a point, like jitter a bit, and then fly back off. But the giggling is still there and still present, yet the sound sounds frustrated.
I make sure that I have my back against something so they can only come at me from a direction I can see, and I'm ready, presenting the mouth of my cauldron like the mouth of a cannon. I'm ready for them.
Indeed. So you're continuing making the noises and doing the same preparations?
Whenever they come at me, pang, 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 pang.
It seems to be working. Keep going, William.
I presume that the animals are going a bit crazy at this point.
Yeah, actually, they are, now they are starting to stomp and rear and make noise and things. They are panicking. Okay,
I mean, I would naturally move towards my stock because that's always on my mind. So I'm moving towards my mule, a bit concerned that it's going to toss my stock overboard.
Okay, so I just rolled what's called a destiny roll.
I didn't let the mules stand there with all the weight on them. That's cruelty to mules. That is. That would be doing my duty if I didn't take the heavy loads off them.
William, you are a good servant.
Ben, could you switch to dice cam just to show everyone the number I rolled on?
1.
I got a glorious 1.
I never like it when I've just been talking and then someone just rolls a 1.
As you go to try and calm the mules, Talon, it rears, okay? Fully just kicking anything that approaches it. And so you need to make a combat roll to see what happens, because that leg is aimed right at your chest, mate. Yes, that'll be base of 3 plus your abilities and 1 from your weapon score. And that'll be your total combat roll. So that's what you'll need to roll. So it's a total of 6, I believe, for you.
Cool.
Ooh, that's nasty, because those things kick like a mule.
Alrighty.
4.
4. All right. Okay. Because you got a 1 on the destiny roll, I have to disadvantage you and -1. But you did still. So that's 3. Luckily, the horse had a 3 as well. But as it tries to kick, okay, you see it coming and you're able to. I'll let you describe how you defend yourself from the kick, Talon.
Well, I just kind of anticipate it and absorb some of the blow. But I mean, it's going to leave a whopping great bruise that I'll feel in the morning.
So you just take it, right? But what happens is, as the mule tries to kick, okay, it actually hefted both of its back legs and kicked out. Its forward legs seem to slip on the wood, and the entire animal falls on its side. The problem was the animal was already standing on the edge of the boat, and as it slips over, the side legs fall on the thing, and it tumbles right into the water with this cry of surprise and shock and panic. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the mule noise makes.
I can tell you exactly what noise a mule makes. Yeah,
please do.
Yeah.
Well, imagine that, but drowning.
Yeah. Right. Well, I immediately strip my armor off and I jump in to try and lead it to the bank because it's an animal and do that.
Okay,
my sword
that's going to take time. So you're starting to take your armor off, and I assume proclaiming, "I shall save it."
Yes, as quickly as possible. I've handed my very nice sword to Talon to look after. Stripped my breastplate off. I'm not wearing shoes, if you remember. I would only lightly armored, and I jump into the water and grab the halter of the struggling beast.
There's a couple of things. First. It's going to take longer to get the armor off just because things are happening quite fast. So you are literally in the process of unstrapping now after you've handed the sword. Now, who did you hand the sword to? Was it Talon?
Talon,
All right,
because he was there conveniently, yes.
Players, what is your reaction to this? Remember, the boatmen are still trying to make noise. You hear frustrated giggles. We have a mule that's fallen into the water, and now you have Sir James proclaiming that he is going to jump into the water in the dead of night while being surrounded by fairies to save the mule. What are your reactions?
I'm someone who's tremendously good at keeping everything together in a crisis, and I see that there's another thing that people are perhaps not watching here. How is this boat actually progressing upstream? Is anyone actually powering this thing at this point?
Nope. It is starting to drift.
Are we going backwards?
You are, but because this part of the river is very, very kind of placid, okay, you're not progressing at a very fast speed, but you are very gently drifting backwards.
Okay, I see that as bad, and I'm going to put my priority on alerting the crewmen to the fact that we've got to really get out of here, not go back to where they came from, but to somewhere where they're not. Anyway, so I'm getting on with that, which is a separate thing.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, I'd like to approach Sir James, and I of course start talking to him and try to convince him not to jump in the water. So I'll roleplay that. Sir James, please. Do not jump into the water. The creatures will take advantage of that, and you shall die together with your mule. The mule is gone. Prepare to fight.
But the mule needs saving. It's thrashing. How is the mule doing, by the way, in the water? Presumably, it's having a go at swimming on its own.
It's trying to. It's very panicking, though. At this time, I'll just find out what Talon is doing to give you an update, because there is something that then happens next after your character's action. So, Talon, what are you doing?
I mean, I'm reeling from the blow that I've just received. Trying to get my breath back, basically.
Alrighty. So, as you are doing that, Alethea and Sir James, roll a perception check. I will roll for you, Sir James. This amount there. Okay, you got 4. That's actually hard. That's not bad. What? Okay. As you are trying to stop Sir James from jumping into the water, that giggling sound, that growing sound that was frustrated, suddenly they switch to almost like a giggle of sudden glee, like a hurrah or a yippee kind of sound. And those blurring soft lights, now instead they were coming in, but they all just reared into a different direction, and they fly down to the mule in the water, having drifted from the sound and the firelight in the water. And the mule just shrieks in pain you don't exactly know what happens when these creatures, these things land, but it shrieks in pain in the darkness, and suddenly its sounds start to gurgle and bubble under the water as it begins to go under. And then these soft things.
I'm crawling myself. I've now got as much armor as I can. The thing's in pain. I'm now diving into the water with my dagger to try and save the mule.
You would have half your armor off by this time, because there's a lot of buckles and things to unstrap. But you're getting there. But your reaction to the mule, happening is to be ready to dive into the water even further. Alethea, what are you doing?
We said that Sir James is not particularly smart, right?
Yes, this is true.
So whenever he unties a buckle, when he starts untying the other one, I do it up again.
Well, I'm just going to dive in with my armor done up then. So somebody better throw a rope or something. As my armor's not coming off very quickly. I've got to go and help the mule. Somebody get a rope, because I'm going in.
I hand Alethea the end of a rope and just say, just tie it to his ankle. It'll be fine.
I'm recovering my breath at this point. I shout, Sir James, don't risk yourself. It's not worth it. My mule, I can replace it easily.
I'm still. This is my character. I'm still going for the mule. I'm not quite sure I know where it is, but I'm diving in. So somebody find a rope.
So Talon,
I will physically be trying to hold back Sir James at this point because it's worth more to me potentially than that mule by a long margin.
Alethea, what are you doing as well?
I assist.
Assisting, beautiful. So this is a combat roll, but you get to assist Talon in the combat roll. How assists work is that you're going to make a roll versus a challenge level of 3, and any amount of wins you get above 3 will be additional wins on top of Matt Talon's roll. But if you roll under the 3, that will be additional wins that will be subtracted. So you have a chance of helping him, but a chance of making it worse. But I'll get you to roll your assist at the moment. You can pick a skill that would logically apply. If you have grapple, that would be the best one to try and assist with. Or you could try and assist with a combat roll. It's up to you. You get to pick.
I believe I need to use a combat roll because I've got riding. Mm-hmm. No.
Okay,
yes.
So it's an unarmed action though, so you won't be able to add any of your weapon-based skills. You could add the knowledge. You could add half of a weapon-based skill because just knowledge of timing and distance that you get from training in weapons. But that'll probably be the best result. So that would be 3 plus your abilities plus half of a weapon skill.
I do have a question. Since in my second vocation I chose High Blade Dancer, the idea of skills. Since I imagine Elven styles to be rather acrobatic, and I put some of that into this.
I would let you have to pick which main skill you're using, if it's a skill, vocation, or proficiency, which is a weapon skill. And so I would let you, I'll let you add your vocation of High Blade Dancer to that.
Okay, I got 2, so you said halved.
Yes.
So it's a +1 to what? Reflexes or strength?
Yeah, this is a combat roll, so you get to add all your ability scores to the dice pool. So 3, which would be +2 from your abilities, and +1 from your Elven, Blade Dancer.
Yeah,
6. Okay, so roll a challenge level 3. Any amounts that you get above 3 will be added to Talon's roll. So you'll see how you go.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
4. All right, that's a +1 win to Talon's roll, so you're assisting Talon. So Talon, same situation for your combat roll. Again, you would base of 3 plus your abilities plus half of a weapon skill, or if you have grapple or something like that, you can just use your grapple skill.
I don't. I mean, I've got reflex +1. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, reflex and intelligence adds to it. So half of your sword and buckler skill, I would say. So that would be 3, 2 plus 1. So that's a dice pool of 6 for your roll.
Okay. I got 3.
3, but you get an additional win because of the assist from Alethea as you both run to try and manhandle Sir James. Now, Sir James, you are a bit preoccupied in your intent to dive into the water. So the question is, actually, roll a perception first to determine if your character is even aware that these two, gentlemen behind you are rushing you to hold you back. Because if you're not aware that they're doing it, you won't even really get a defensive roll to stop it. But if you are...
My perception's lousy, so you're going to have to roll for me. I mean, I haven't got a clue. Yeah.
Yes, William, what would you like to say?
I want to delay him to give the other 2 people trying to stop him more time to stop him by holding out a random hat of his and say, you'll need your diving hat, sir. Give me that one.
That's beautiful. So that's an additional assist, and you can choose to assist as well. And so same situation, but that's a assist with a persuasion. And so, William, you have a persuasion of 1, I believe.
Got intelligence 2, persuasion 1. Yeah.
Perfect. So it'll be 3 plus 2 from your intelligence, and then 1. So it's a dice pool of 6. Yes.
Oh dear! I've only thrown 2 hits.
So. All right. So what happens is that you do that, but Sir James's reaction is that, well, I'm assuming that's the wrong hat. Don't bother me with that.
Yeah.
It's clearly not my diving hat.
That's not my diving hat. That's the wrong colour. You fool. You fool, William. Stop
Well, as long as you stop
me.
to say that, the other 2 guys will have time to tackle him.
Yes,
I'm trying to save the mule.
I'm going to roll the perception. I'll roll it on the dice board. Okay. You're not aware of Talon and Elithier. They lose the bonus that Elithier added in his attempts to assist because William unfortunately distracted it against, which means there was a total of 3. But because Sir James is not even aware of their attempt, you don't actually get a defensive roll. It's going to be against a static challenge level. And the challenge level would be an uncommon task, which means it's a challenge level of 2. The overall result is 3. So, Talon, you successfully grapple him and hold him back. In fact, you could even pin him down if you wish. You got a combat victory of 1, and so combat victory basically means you're able to hold him back. And Elithier, you're there holding him as well. So
I'm apologising profusely as well, of course, because I'm very embarrassed at having to do this to Sir James.
Did you fall, man? What happened? Are you trying to get off me? What happened? Where's the mule gone?
Don't worry about the mule. It was old anyway.
But it's still a mule. It still deserves to be. Where is it? Where are we? I'm completely disorientated now.
It's gone, Sir James. It's gone, Sir James. It's too late.
Before you get to finish that conversation, Ben, if you could switch us over to the dice cam, I'm going to make a destiny roll because unfortunately a number of you had to stop making noises to stop Sir James from diving into the water. It's a smaller dice cam, this one. And we got a 5 on the dice roll. So you hear the giggling happening again. And they seem to have left their attention because they did what they needed to with the mule, which is not appeared again above the water. And let me just determine how many. Okay, so William and Elithier, you see not only just one, in the stress of the moment, you're more aware of these, creatures around us, and a number. There's an actual kind of a cluster each that have both started to fly towards each of you. Okay, so now this is a declaration phase in combat where you get to declare what you're going to try and do. Whoever has reflex, the lowest reflex declares first, and so Elithier, or what's your reflex? You have 1, don't you? Let me see.
Yeah, I've got 1.
You're 1, and so all right, William, you declare first because you've got lowest reflex.
Right. Well, as before, seems to be working. Point the cauldron straight at it, and be ready with the cudgel, and pang, pang, pang. Hit them with the sound waves.
Wonderful. Now you'll have to make a combat roll to see if you manage to do it quick enough. But we'll get there. You see, like Elithier, because you're quicker on the upkeep, you can see William raise, his with the thing with his intent to do that in his defense. That could either inform you to copy, or to come to his aid, or just do your own thing in your own defense. As you see this cluster of giggling nightmares honing in on you.
Okay. Well, I think, is there anything I can do? Like, for example, if I focus my attention, since I see what he's going to do, and I focus my attention on the creatures that are flying towards him, can I assist him in telling him to your right or something like that to increase his...
You could bang the pot with him to make even a louder noise.
Okay. I'd rather try to intercept, to be honest, if that's possible.
Intercept? Okay, they, to just try and describe it, they're about yay big, and there seems to be about 5, flying in towards William, with about 6 flying in towards you, okay? That seems to be the go. So you're going to try and slash at a couple?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's roll your combat rolls to see the overall results. So, William, your combat roll is going to be interesting because there's not exactly a weapon attack, but this is. I will. Let me go to your character sheet. Let's see. Do you have any applicable skill?
I'm persuading you to attack me.
I won't let persuasion apply because you'll need to try and say something in the process.
One of my jobs, of course, when I was a teenager, was calling everyone in from the fields by banging on the gong. To summon them in, so I'm really good at banging.
In that sense, that's a servant's task. I would let you apply your dog's body vocation on the roll because you are practiced at banging gongs. You know how to bang a gong better than anyone has banged a gong. So, I'll let you add that, so it'll be 3. Dog's body would be, I'm assuming you founded that skill on intelligence, so it would be +2, and +2 from your dog's body vocation, and so you have a pool of 7. Alethir, you're gonna, it's a flat out combat roll. You actually get your weapon bonus in this respect. It's 3 plus your ability scores, plus your skill, the weapon skill that you're using. And I'm just going to quickly look up the exact weapon bonus. And so if I just go to...
Yeah, I have a +2 arming sword and +1 shield. I actually forgot that I had a shield, but yeah.
Okay, so medium weapon, which is counted for arming sword, is +1 at the moment. We might have actually recently changed that, but we're just going to stick with +1 in it. And so what is your total pool then?
I'm not sure you have to.
Okay, so it's 3 plus 2. What was your skill in sword?
Arming sword is 2.
2. Okay, so plus another 2, and then +1, and so you have a total pool of that looks to be 8. All right. So if you could roll a pool of 8, and William Lloyd, if you could roll a pool of 7, and tell me the results.
Oh no, I got just 3.
3.
Yep.
And William?
3.
3 and 3. Alrighty, I will be rolling for the fairies now. And they will have a base of 3 and +2 an additional 1 based on their statistics. Okay, so this was for you, William. Alrighty. They rolled a 3. So it seems like there was a reluctance, a deterrence, as though, these creatures, these vicious fairies are flying towards you, but they don't actually stop and fly back as they did before. They just kind of fly and zing out of the way and fly around you, but you feel the wind past you on the cheek as they zip by. And for you, Alethir, okay, so as you try and slash and get at these things are small. It's like, baseball essentially, but with a sword, and they are hard to hit. And as they fly by, one seems to come at you, aiming for the throat, and you feel a sharp pain in the side of your neck as a large thorn, the size of something like this, gets kind of stuck, but it misses anything serious. But it's a very sharp, stinging pain, and that thorn gets lodged in there and stays in there as this vicious little thing giggles in glee, like it just heard a hilarious joke and achieved something grand, rings in your ear, flying off into the distance. You actually hear words said that you can understand, being of the Fae, and it's this high-pitched, got it, can I get its eyes next? And the other fairies giggle in glee. So that was not severe enough to actually cause a level 1 injury, because it only got a level 1 victory against you. So it's more of a very high stinging nuisance. Of course, I'm assuming you're going to pull it out or do something with the...
Yeah. I'll try to take it off.
All right. It is a new round, gentlemen. Okay, so Sir James, you have just been kind of held back by Talin, all right? And so now it's a declaration phase, similar to what we did before, where people with the lowest reflex declares first. Okay, so William, and then it's going to be Raph and Talin declaring. Sir James, you are when it comes to combat, it's funny. You're in the moment. You're kind of loving this. Your blood is boiling. This is like adventure and grand, things happening around you. And so your kind of reflexes just come alive. You're aware of things now. You're watching what's happening. And so, William, can you please declare your intent for this round?
Right. I want to get down on the deck with my back against a pile of Mr. Tilstone's produce, so that they can only come at me from sort of above and in front, because below me is ship and behind me is stuff. So they can only come from up there, and I'm a much smaller target now. So if they're flying horizontally, they won't even be able to see me now because I'm beneath the gunnels.
Wonderful.
I'm going to get a torch out and look around for anything reasonably close by which I could light it.
Excellent. The boatmen declare along that you can see what their intention is, and they heard your cry before, William, about we need to keep moving, okay, stop drifting back. And so they actually have grabbed the boat sticks to try and push it along, and they're making noises. They're trying to push it along with one hand, and they've picked up anything that they could find, their sword, the flat of their swords, if there was a cudgel or something, and they're hitting the stick as they're trying to move it, still trying to make noise. And the captain has even joined in on this. And so there's an oar essentially on each corner of the barge pushing forward slowly as they're doing their best to make noise at the same time. All right, so Alethea and Talon, if you can then declare what you are doing now in this round. And you can join William, because you've been able to see his intent of what he will be doing. And so the declaration phase is not what your characters are doing, but what they intend to do. And then we get to see how that plays out in the actual combat role. So yes, what is your declaration, gentlemen?
So self-preservation coming into it here. I'm pretty much lying down flat on the deck, telling the others to do the same, and get behind the mounds of baggage and other things we've got lying around there. These fairies to me seem pretty much like missiles, and so I'm trying to get out of the line of fire and let the boatmen do their job.
Okay. For me, first of all, I need to ask, because I did put 1 point in shield, but I never asked you if it's okay for me to have a shield. So that's the first thing I wanted to ask.
Oh yeah, a wooden shield with very few iron fittings. You could get away with it. Stinks. You don't like the stink, and you've got to be careful of touching, the actual iron kind of, rivets on the edge. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking something like a heater shield, so mostly like gesso and parchment rather than without any rim. Okay. Yep. And so what I would like to do is that I still want to kind of focus and try to hit one or two, hoping that if they get some, casualties, they might reconsider. But I do that standing closer to one of the lit torches, hoping that can distract them as they attack.
How many of you are still making noises?
I am. I've still got the pang, pang, pang.
Pang, pang. Beautiful. And Matt, are you still making noises?
No, I'm just hunkering down on the deck, trying to hide behind whatever I can get behind.
Okay, and so James, what are you doing in this round?
Right, well, I'm now free of the grappling of Talon, which I just assumed he fell on me. The mule is gone, so I am getting to my feet, grabbing my shield, and I've gone into this slightly mad martial state. So I'm standing foursquare, sort of shouting Tower of the Bear at the top of my voice, and you will not win, and I will prevail, and basically I've gone into a bit of a manic kind of yelling, come at me, you bastards kind of thing, because I'm kind of quite filled with adrenaline.
I was just want to say that the idea of yelling, it's actually good, because you can do it even when you are trying to strike, like in my case. So I do yell as well, but I actually try to yell something in Elven. Like, I understand that no one will understand, but I will do that. So, and hoping that they understand, I will scream by saying something in the lines of, "We kill you in the Fae, we shall kill you here." Of course, this is going to sound something in the lines of, "Hailith Tarani Silai." Whatever.
And that's a strange language, so I don't know how your other characters react to it. At this time, you also see Finchard, and he stands right beside Sir James, and he starts yelling and then saying some of the most foul kind of things unimaginable, swearing by God's body, and God's balls will do this, I'll curse you, and all that. And he starts, right, just bellowing out there. So James will kill you all, you won't have a stand a bloody chance in hell, you stupid creatures of the devil fire, kind of thing. And now I'm just going to do a destiny roll to determine something as yet undetermined. But anyway, aha! I rolled a 10. Fairly plain, straightforward. So what happens in this one is you all are watching and waiting, okay? For those of you can see, but no matter which direction you're facing, you can see these strange, and they're not bright glowing, they're just kind of these kind of soft after shadows in the darkness as they're zipping around. And you see them kind of flying around in a circle around the barge, and they all stop and they start to swoop in. But then this time again, they kind of stop, jitter, and then fly back away in frustration. This kind of giggling kind of, but they seem determined still. Something changes now. They start to fly around the barge in a circle, and their giggle starts to pick up in glee, in cheeky joy for some reason, while they're zipping around the barge in a circle.
Captain, have you got any fishing nets on this barge?
Fishing nets! Got no fishing nets! This ain't a fishing boat!
Do we perceive that they are being repelled by something or kind of...
yes, indeed. Indeed. Well, you kind of now have confirmation on what Alethea yelled very, loudly before. Make loud noises, get fire and things like that. That does seem to be having an effect, okay? When the noise is loud enough and consistent enough, that it seems to repel them. They don't like it when they get closer to it.
Okay, so I mean, if that's obviously the case, then I'm scrambling around in my stores, in my baggage things, trying to pull out the largest bits of metal I can find, a breastplate, a shield, whatever, to clang them together.
Mm-hmm. All right, roll a perception. Everyone, roll a perception. I'll roll for you, James.
Thank you.
4.
2.
3.
4, 2, 3. Okay, William and Talin, you notice the boat slightly tilt to the left, but slightly tilt to the right. I mean, it was already kind of slowly drifting, okay, but that was a more pronounced tilt than before. I just kind of thought, oh, that was rather kind of odd, different, but the wind is calm, the water's calm. Actually, who got the 4?
I did.
All right. Okay, William, you actually notice the water isn't as calm as it was. The water actually is starting to look the slightest bit choppy.
Okay. There's no glow at all, is there, from the water?
More. It does seem to have a different shimmer. It's not bright, but it's like this odd kind of reflection in the water. And the fairies are giggling with glee as the speed in which they're flying around the boat increases. And you notice the glow around the fairies also increase very subtly.
Watch out for fairy fish, I say, whilst lighting a torch.
Is there anything that have I ever seen them do something like this with this suffused, like this water's being suffused with light?
Fairies do have some magical capacity, and it's always involving some manipulation of nature.
Okay.
So this seemed to be triggered by us all collectively making even more noise than before. Can I realise that? Can Talon realise that?
Roll another perception to see if you can connect that. The slight, because you got the 3. William was able to see the connection between the fairies and the motion of the boat, but I'll let you make an additional roll to see.
I only got 2.
Yeah, you're just the boat's starting to rock a bit. It's boats rock, but you have noticed it rocking.
I want to head towards where the fairies are sort of flying around us and try and hit them with my sword while I'm still shouting.
Wonderful, wonderful. No combat roll needed because there's not an exact opposition combat. The fairies aren't attacking, they're circling. But as you do, you get to the side and you swing, and they're out of range. You can't hit them. They're
I'm
too
just
far
going to
away.
shout abuse at them, telling them they're cowards and they should come and fight like a man.
I would like to tell William, perhaps use your bow.
I hear him and move as if heeding him, but I don't heed him. What I do instead is I grab the biggest, longest oar I can find and bring it down broadside on for the loudest possible slap on the surface of the water towards the front of the boat.
Wonderful. So as you are in the motion of doing that, the boat begins to rock even more. Where before it was like a slight kind of, until now it's actually reaching kind of like a 30-degree angle as it starts to rock, and water is sloshing over the sides as you all notice this is almost impossible to miss. And in fact, with the water sloshing on the sides and the instability of the barge, you all need to roll a reflex check. You can, if you have athletics or something like that, you could add it to your roll. Acrobatics would be wonderful help. I would let you use your sword dance, Alethier, for that roll. And so it's going to be, remember, your base of 3. If you have reflex, add your reflex. Okay. And then an applicable skill if you have one. And so I'll sort it out for you, James.
Thank you.
You have 2, and I'll let you add your grapple if you have grapple. And so you have a dice pool of 6 for this. You're rolling against a challenge level. William, what's your dice pool?
3.
Oh, you've got nothing to add bonus to it, do you? Alrighty. So this is a challenge level 4, okay, that you're rolling against, all of you.
Yeah, but I rolled really well. Let's see.
You rolled a 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to roll for you.
I rolled a 1.
1. Okay.
2 of them were 6s, look.
2 of you are 6. Those of you who have bare feet, I will give you an additional +1 to the roll.
Ha-ha!
I didn't say it.
Yes! 4!
Up to 2 now then.
Up to 2. Okay, Jason, you got a 2. Did you have bare feet?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, so 3. The challenge level was 4. Anyone who did not reach the 4, this rocking and the slippery nature of the thing make you slide completely off your feet, and you hit the deck completely off your feet.
I'm already lying flat on the deck.
Okay, well, you're safe. You're just kind of on the boat while it's rocking. William, you almost slip over, but luckily your feet find enough purchase, and you reach the front of the boat to slap the oar down. Now, is your intent to make noise or to hit fairies? What was your intent with the slapping?
It's one way to scare fish. You slap and it just makes a very, very loud sound.
It makes a shockwave through the water. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know about the science.
So it is a new round, and now the boat is really rocking and the deck is completely just drenched in water. In actual fact, the captain calls out, "That'll get a capsizes at this rate! We gotta do something!"
She can't take much more, Captain.
She can't take much more! Because his accent changes every bloody time.
Do I feel that my slapping the water did anything at all?
No, you don't think it was very effective. The fairies are above the water. It made noise, but there's a lot of noise, and especially the sloshing of the water and the boat rocking and slapping on the water is actually making even a bit more noise, which is the fairies are further away, but they're still circling, and they are loving it. They're just having the best time ever. So James, sorry, you fell over as well. So you fully slipped and hit the deck on the side of the boat.
That's the second time I've hit the deck in about a minute. This is becoming a habit. But I leap to my feet again, bellow Tower of the Bear, and try to find something I can hold on to. Is there anything?
Yeah, there is a side railing. There is a side railing. There's no central mast on this because it's a barge and not a boat. But there, side railing. And there's like a raised portion, but the railing is probably your best bet at the moment.
I'll try and sort of. Yeah.
Sorry, I do need to amend that. The side railing might not be your best bet because they're the closest sides to the water when it goes down, and it's rocking so much, the sides of the barge is actually getting partially submerged now in the rocking, and it is getting up to 45 degrees on each side as it's rocking the water. The water is going crazy with really high swells and choppy as anything. This is getting very serious now, and the barge has a possible chance of even capsizing. I need a roll for the horses at this time because they are not in a.
So I'm lying flat on the deck, but I'm also now I'm wearing a brigandine, and I'm struggling to start unstrapping it because feeling like we might capsize. I don't particularly want to be wearing armor when I go into the water.
Alethier, can you roll a perception to try and figure out what could be agitating the fairies?
Sure. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 5.
5. Awesome. You think it's your silver plate and sword that's attracting them. They love silver. And the torches have been completely snuffed out from the water and the sides of the boat getting capsized and stuff. You've stopped the noise making because you're all trying to hold on to things and you're sliding around. Okay, I just rolled an 8 on the destiny dice. 2 of the bargemen have fallen off the boat.
Okay, so do they sense it, or do they have to see it?
Roll a perception to see if you notice the bargemen are even off, because you guys are just trying your best to stay on the boat at the moment.
Oh, no. I meant if the fairies, if I hide my sword and my breastplate from sight, can that help?
Yes. In actual fact, you know, for fey creatures, metals have scents, like as smells to them, and hence why you loathe iron. Okay, and if they're attracted to your fey silver, it's because they are smelling it. All right, and you could mask the scent with an odor that they perhaps dislike.
Okay, so I'll take anything made of iron, and I'll put it right next to my sword, and then I'll just handle it, even though I hate it.
All right. That's your declaration for this round. So you're going to try and hide your fey silver. William, sorry, you get to declare first with what your intent. You can roll to see if you notice the bargeman off the boat.
Okay. And I roll a 5. So
5. Yes, you do notice.
Okay. So I think if I had the ability to try to carry on slapping, I would carry on slapping, because when you're desperate, you just keep trying the thing in the hope that it will eventually work. But I suspect that I'm going to be concentrating entirely on just staying on board.
Mm-hmm.
So getting low and grabbing hold of things is probably good.
All right. You notice something with the men getting knocked overboard. The fairies suddenly stop their spinning around the boat. You don't know what they're doing yet, but they have all stopped this circular motion. The water is still upset and the boat's still rocking, but their motion has ceased. Talon, what is your declaration now for this round?
Honestly, I think I'm going to be staying put. The only thing I'd be wanting to do is trying to get access to my spear.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Sir James, your intent?
Well, I still want to fight something. I'm not quite sure, but I'm being battered quite a bit actually in this. So I'm probably slightly out of breath. Do I notice that anybody's gone into the water?
Let me roll for your perception on that one. No, you have not noticed. No. You could consider the mere fight to stay on the boat a type of battle in and of itself.
Yes, I still feel that he would be trying to fight something in spite of. Basically, he's trying to find something to hold on to get a good sort of basis on which he can then fight. So he's probably concentrating on that at the moment. So trying to find something to grab onto, but also partly aware of just trying to hit something with his sword.
But doing very well, sir. They daren't come near you.
I'm probably playing around a bit too. Yeah.
Fintred has grabbed the side rail of the boat with both hands like this, and he doesn't care that the side of the boat gets submerged partially when it rocks on that side and goes up. He's just been holding on and cussing up a storm, just bloody fairies, what is going on? It's just never happened since Storm. Screw their mothers and screw their fathers. I was just going on a tirade, an absolute tirade. Okay, so with your declarations happen, there's no real combat, so it's pretty straightforward on what you're all trying to do. So you go through those tasks, but the thing that's important is what Alethea is trying to do, because you need to move to the location and try and take off your Fey plate in the same process. And so please roll this is a reflex check, and you can use anything that bonuses, like if you have acrobatics, grapple, your sword dance one can add. So 3 plus your reflex. Plus. Yeah. Okay. And roll that. And it's a challenge level 4. They're trying to pass.
This is going to be my lucky shot.
Now, I will let you know. Each of you has 3 destiny points, and a destiny point is something that you can use to one, add an additional win to a dice roll. Yeah, and a destiny point is basically fate. Okay, your characters have this position because they're heroes and they have a destiny that they wish to fulfill. And so, in desperate moments where it is warranted, where your characters just reach into the ether, the unknown, to try and achieve very hard, you get to use what is called a destiny point, which can assist you in certain roles. Okay, so just let you know that.
Can I decide whether to use it or not after I roll?
Yes, if you want to use a destiny roll before the actual roll, you get what is called advantage on the roll, where instead of a 4, 5, and 6 being a win, it'll be a 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the win. Or if you can choose to use it after roll to simply add an additional win to the roll. So
okay, and how do we recover these points?
I award them based on role-playing and sessions, and I usually will grant 1 or 2 after a session just to replenish a pool.
Okay,
and you can save them up if you want.
Okay, but it's a big pool, so I'll decide afterwards. I mean, statistically, I should already get a point, so I'll use it afterwards if needed.
Okay.
Right. 1, 2. I've only got 2, so I'll add 1 to get the third. No, I needed to get 4.
Yeah, so you can burn 2 destiny points to succeed.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on, do you have bare feet?
Yeah, no, I actually, to be sincere, I didn't say that I would take off my shoes.
Okay, so then no, you don't get the additional win from the bare feet.
I have to be fair.
So you'll have to use 2 destiny points.
I'll use 2 destiny points.
All right, your life is in danger. This is a desperate moment, and so you struggle as best you can to keep your footing. And remarkably, you do, as you reach the supplies and you manage to wrest off this fey plate that you have, and you already have the sword in hand. So you said you were reaching for anything iron? Iron?
Yeah, so I need from Mr. Killstone stuff.
Yeah, okay. So as you grab it, it scalds your hand like you just put it flat onto a...
Oh, I thought I was wearing gloves.
Are you wearing gloves? I wasn't aware. Gloves don't necessarily stop the reaction, but I'll roll a destiny dice to see if these ones are just thick enough or it's in the right situation, if water is conducting the effect or not. And aha! 15. So as you reach for it, it feels hot. It feels very hot, but there's no actual pain burning going through the gloves. You're able to handle it, but it stinks. Like you have the smell of vicious rust right in your nose. Probably won't give too much effect because you're trying to survive. But so you are. What exactly are you doing? You're burying it. You're putting it side by side.
Yeah, I'd like to put them into cover them with iron so that I can kind of bury them with iron and stuff.
Wonderful. All right, you do that. It is a new round as you all struggling to survive. The boat is still rocking, but noticeably less. Yet the fairies you all see are diving towards the water. Roll a perception to see if you can notice anything specific. I'll roll for you, James.
Oh, now I did a good roll.
I got a 1 for Sir James. So James, I'm assuming you're swinging your sword trying to fight something. Just like, I shall kill you all.
Absolutely.
5 for Alethea. William, 2. Talon,
2.
I think it's yeah.
2. All right, so only Alethea sees what's actually happening, as the rest of you are just kind of. I assume. Do you want to declare exactly what you're doing in this round? I'm assuming it's very much the same thing as what you were doing before.
Yeah, I have no difference. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing because yeah.
William and Talon.
I'm compensating for the fact that I've grabbed hold of the ship with my hand or hands with screaming.
I was trying to pull the spear out because I was concerned that we were about to be attacked by some type of creature from the water, large fish or octopus or something. So I'm looking furtively towards the edges of the barge with my spear at the ready.
Wonderful. I'll need to get you to roll a balance check, similar to what Raf has had to do. Alethea, what you see, the fairies are diving straight for the two boatsmen that fell into the water, and they have been keeping their heads above water, basically, because they certainly know how to swim. Yet they can't put up a defense, and all you hear now, just a wailing cry of agony in the water, just as these fairies presumably just fly right down at them and pierce their faces with spikes after spike after spike. Probably 15 in each face, as these poor men just cry out in pain and start to gurgle under the water.
I'm going to have a go at jumping in the water to try and save them again, because that's what I do.
I try to take maybe a couple of oars, give one to Sir James, and say, let's use the oars to give the people in the water something that they can grab or hold on to, perhaps.
Okay, fine. We'll try that briefly. Yes, yeah. Okay, I'll go with that. Because you're cleverer than me, so we'll try your plan. But if that doesn't work, I'm jumping in with my dagger.
Wonderful. Okay, so new round now. And now the boat has fallen to a more gradual kind of just tilting and rocking. And the fairies, oddly enough, their giggles are softer. They're noticeably softer as they are flying in random directions, but there's no cohesive thing. Alethea, if you could roll a perception to see if you can hear anything that they say.
Yep. Oh.
Yes, wonderful. You hear on the wind things like different comments and stuff from different directions. Things like, that was fun, gotta do it again. Wonderful job. Oh, yes, they screamed. I love the scream. I got his eye out. I have his eye. And as they're kind of flying and dispersing.
Right, so I believe they're dead, then, I suppose, the men.
Yeah, they're under the water and they're not coming up by the look of it.
Okay, I understand. So, yeah, no, I'll let everyone know. The men are dead. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, there is. We can paddle. Grab this. I say, giving him a paddle or quant or barge pole or whatever it is this is powered by, because we've just lost 2 men.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we grab.
So James.
Yeah, I'll grab a pole and try my hand at manual labour.
That way, Sir James. That way.
I then turn around the other way and follow William's guide.
Finchard grabs a pole as well and starts doing it. It's like, seems like the bowmen satiated the beasts. Bloodthirsty, but after they get a good action, seems to be dispersing. And that seems to be true. The giggles are ebbing off and getting softer as the waters start to settle even further, and the soft glowing after shadows of lines in the sky fade into the darkness. So what?
Do we need light now, gentlemen, to see where we're actually going in this boat? Or, presumably all the torches have gone out, have they?
Yes, all the torches are out.
Presumably there's some kind of moonlight.
Yes, there is moonlight. You can see the shimmer of it in the water, so you can get a decent enough direction as to where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah, the other 2 boatmen are shaken completely, and the captain is he's got a wild-eyed stare, just... Never... I'm back. Never going on water again. Never going in forests. I'm done.
I'm going to suggest a hearty sing-song to lift everybody's spirits, because we've just had a fight and we've survived, and suggest a song. Yeah. Maybe a sea shanty or something.
Yeah.
Fincher goes, well, I seem to remember one about fairies. It goes something like, I'll just
not that one, Sir James.
Different
song.
Not that one.
Not the one about fairies. A different song.
Okay. It was. So you guys are still rolling everything. So it's probably been a good 5 minutes, I would say.
Are we any good at it? Are we going in a direction? Are we coordinated, or are we sort of feebly moving the boat at all?
You're moving it a decent way. Okay. but that's also the time frame that you were wondering about as well, William. As well.
Can I interact with the captain? Captain, what was that?
Pixies, devil pixies. I'd have lost my accent again. Devil pixies. I've never seen. They're real. They're real.
Are you telling me this has never happened before?
No, I mean, I've heard the sounds in the forests. Never that. So I don't know what attracted them or made them angry.
Well, what about the damage on the barge?
All the scratches in the night sometimes, but some of them are arrow shots. When we reached Craghold, the watchtower that blocks the passageway further upstream, they shot on us, the bastards.
What watchtower? Why did they shoot at you? Who are they?
Well, they wouldn't let us pass. The river goes upstream, you see, and there's a crag that the river passes through that leads to the Silver Valley and mines further up. And there's a watchtower being placed there that can block the way just by firing, and they shot at us, like I said, and they wouldn't let us pass by order of the Lord. And I'll quickly look
the
up
Lord, they? Who are they?
Lord Sarah Crow, Lord of Silverthorn. He has made an order to let no one pass, but with the authority of the Count, he should let us pass now. But I expect we might have trouble at the Craghold.
Well, why don't you have authority to go to Silvertown? I'm
just a bargeman. I have no weight behind me. But with an actual noble, a lord and knight, sure, they must listen this time. Must.
Sir James, I turned to Sir James, this is all very untoward. I think we've got in over our heads on this. There's clearly something very strange going on with this trade. It's not as simple as it seems.
It's very strange. I'm not sure I've heard of these. We're on the king's mission, aren't we? Surely we should have authority that we need. I should probably speak to somebody about it. Can we land and speak to somebody? Or
I've got a terrible feeling that we've been hoodwinked into being some kind of bodyguards or protection for this barge.
That is possible, I suppose.
Captain, am I right?
I honestly believe we weren't going to get attacked, not by fairies of all things. And look, the Tower Watch only fired at me because I was trying to ignore their order to turn back, and I sailed through. And their warning shots, they weren't trying to kill us. Now I'm doing Finch's accent. Warning shots, they weren't trying to kill us.
So you don't have permission to navigate this river?
Well, I do from the Count and Lord, and as I said before, with the messenger from the king, he'll be able to help us pass. Fincher comes up and is like, surely we shall pass. We have the mission from the Lord, and it's very important. The King's silver must come down the river. In fact, I'm sure the Count would be willing to reward you with a good portion of the silver that we're able to bring back for the Count. How does that say? How's that?
Tell me more. How much?
Well, lots of silver. We're going up to Silvertown, and we have there's a silver ore. Perhaps 2 chests worth. How's that for you?
And what gives you the authority to promise us this?
Well, I know that the Lord will be offering a reward, and he will be very ingratiated to you for bringing back the silver and putting him in the good favor of the king. In fact, if I'm rather wealthy, I'm a wealthy man. I'm so confident that Lord Count Ferrian will reward you that if he doesn't, I shall pay you myself.
Sir James, what do you think about this?
It's very irregular. I mean, normally in these circumstances, I'd write a letter and try and sort it out that way. But we're not really in a position to write a strongly worded letter. I think direct action.
I have a letter I have the letter right here from the Count. We should deliver it as well.
Well, I think.
And he then slips.
Can we go and see the Count then? I mean, how far is it to see the Count?
Right. Did you get it directly from the Count or from his herald?
Well, I mean, it was written by the herald, but signed by the Count. It has the Count's own seal on it, and I'm his steward, and I have it right here.
You actually put it into your hand.
Yes,
is it the herald?
Absolutely.
Oh, the herald, Cedric. How is he these days? Now, is his wife any better?
Cedric? I wasn't aware that was his name.
The Count's herald is called Cedric. Well, it's been the last 15 years.
So hang on, just now stepping out of character. Does your character know the Count's herald?
No, I'm making this up.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Because but I was like, are you talking about Edward? Edward, what? Count's herald.
No, Cedric. Tall guy, greying hair.
No, don't know Cedric.
Oh, you don't know Cedric, eh?
Is he one of your children from all the women you've been shagging?
You're right. That's who he is. My mistake.
I know you peasants get so many children that it's just hard to remember who's at these times.
I think my children are older than me, though. I don't know how that's possible.
That is odd, isn't it? Very well, but
you started young.
You're committed. The Count needs your assistance. I need your assistance to sort out this thing and make sure the silver flows again.
I'm still not clear on why this watchtower has been shooting at you when you're supposed to be handling the King's silver under the permission of the Count.
Well, it seems like Lord Sarek is his name. He might be in revolt. Or he's not following orders. But with this letter from the Count, we shall show him what for, I say. Especially with illustrious knight and nobility here. Surely we shall show what's what.
So you intend us to fight him then?
Of course not. We wouldn't be able to do that. But also to find out why. Look, at the very least, even if we cannot get the silver flow, we can at least find out why he is not sending the barges, letting the barges through and sending the silver.
Might it be worth our time to pull up by the bank for tonight, wait until morning, and then advance to the watchtower on foot?
I don't know about you, but I don't want to go anywhere near that forest with what's possibly in there.
Is there no road? There's no road from the river to the. There's nothing like that. Okay, we'd have to go through the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could stay to the bank. We could follow the bank of the river along.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
I feel that we're terribly vulnerable on this barge in the middle of the river. We can't fight properly. We can't defend ourselves properly. We're very visible to both banks. At least if we commit ourselves to one bank of the river, we'll be on one side. We can always flee back to the barge. We can pull the barge along with the ropes, using the remaining horses and mules.
Mm-hmm.
I feel we'd be a lot safer on the riverbank.
I need to roll something. I was going to roll what happened to the horses. I'll just do that in retrospect now. Oh! Got an 18. Remarkably, they're still on the barge.
A new horse trained.
Well trained they were, and
Yes.
tied down. Yes, good. I'm pleased with that. Good. So we have options now for cavalry charges and glorious death on pikes.
William is the best servant I've ever had, and would be a fantastic stable hand. Or he's just great with animals, and also my baggage. You know, I lost my mule, but thanks to William, I still have my goods.
Well, I don't know about you, but getting off this blasted barge sounds like a wonderful idea. I hate the things. I'll never go on a barge again. So wet.
So
Soggy, slippery.
is there anywhere we can get off the barge then sensibly, or is it a good bank that we can use, or is it marshy and horrible?
To your luck, like the captain looks down. It looks like there's a bank we could pull up shore just upstream. It's reflecting in the moonlight. I can see it.
Does it look wooded there?
Gentlemen, we could do that. We could mount our horses and ride to adventure. I don't know how dense the woodland is.
I believe, Sir James, I believe that even if we just camp up for the night, at least and wait until sunrise, then we'll be able to advance far more safely in the morning.
At least we'll have...
Also because none of us has slept a wink, and perhaps we could take turns. To the game master, do I need to sleep as an elf?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
As much as
I think it's a very good idea. We could do with drawing some things out as well and reorganizing, perhaps.
Are any of you nervous about what could come from the forest, seeing as what you just saw come from the forest?
That's why I asked the question. Where he's pointing to as a proposed landing spot, is it forested there?
There's a slight. It was a decently good bank with it had maybe a good 10 meters of room between the bank and the forest, but it's only for a short passage on the bank. The woodland reaches the very edge of the bank further up and past. It would be hard trekking to try and traverse even along the bank. There'll be times where you can match the bank, and times when it's going to be difficult to get through the woodland.
So my view is that the primary concern here is waiting until sunup, when we can advance more safely, and that we're more able to defend ourselves on the bank than we are on the barge, being that the barge is on water and unstable, as we've just witnessed. It's easy to fall off of, and we can be attacked by these fairies on the barge anyway. So given that they can attack us on the barge, we may as well run the risk of being attacked on land, where we can actually defend ourselves better.
Tactically, my tutor would say that was a very sound tactical decision. I'm sure I've read books about that kind of thing. So yes, we could build a small defensive ditch around us as well. William could dig ferociously all night.
That's wonderful. We could build a Motte and Bailey, Finchard says. We could build a whole Motte and Bailey. The peasants are wonderful at that. We've got William here. He could do the whole job in one night. That's a great idea.
Sweet William, I know him as.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. As I remember, the old maxim is just a good commander. He picks his ground. He wouldn't pick ground favourable to the enemy ever. That's the thing. I seem to remember them saying.
Well, you could use a pick.
What would I know?
You could pick the ground, or you could use a shovel, William. I mean, both tools are quite useful.
Choose the ground, as in not the middle of a wood.
I see. Not as in pickaxe the ground. No, I see. I must have misread those books.
But my concern is, given everything that's happened, we need to get off the water as soon as possible. And we don't know what was causing this rocking and this turbulence. And I'm not happy about being on the water at this point.
Well, I agree. And the animals could do with being on solid ground as well. That will calm them down, and they will act as an early warning device for us to a certain extent as well, perhaps.
Yeah. Now, wonderful. Now, also, I just want you all to make a perception roll to see if any of you noticed something significant throughout that whole process. I'll roll for you, Jason. But you don't need to roll a Lethier.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I got
one. Lloyd, what did you get?
2 out of 8.
2. Okay, none of you notice. No worries. So you all work in unison to push the barge onto the bank, let it just kind of scrape onto the bank a little bit. You'll still need to wade through, thigh-high water to get to it, but actually, no, there is a plank, like a walk plank that, the captain pushes out, which reaches the bank enough to let you disembark. And so I will let you describe the nature of your camp and the defenses you'll be taking. And then we will draw this second session to a close as you turn in for the night after surviving a very dangerous and harrowing experience. But all right, so what are you doing? What's the setup of the camp?
Well, it depends on the landscape, doesn't it, really? I mean, strategically, my Sir James would know that lines of fire or ditches or fallen trees depends on the nature of the threat as well, I suppose. Do we have sharpenable stakes or rope or anything like that with us?
Well, there's a lot of wood around, and you've.
Yeah, I would suggest.
Contemplating all that rubbish, I light a fire.
At this point,
You light a fire and
we need
get some warm drinks on.
We need to get fire burning so we can see what we're doing, and it's probably too late in the night to start digging ditches, and we've only got one servant to do it for us. Clearly, we're not in it. And maybe pulling some brushwood and driftwood and bits of bushes and things like that around into a sort of lager, into a ring with the baggage and the animals in the center, perhaps.
Yes, I'd like to add that perhaps we should also not only put torches around us and of course bushes and everything, but also iron. Anything made of iron could help us create a sort of defensive wall.
Iron? Why iron? That seems a rather odd thing. Oh, is it the story? What it was, that song? Without iron, we will die. Why iron? Oh, it's that goblin chant the children sing whenever they want to play the Heidi game. They call it Goblin. Is it?
I have an idea. We could string things from ropes that we string around the camp. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes. So if do we have enough rope to make a small perimeter, and then we can hang iron things from the rope.
I have both of those things. So I have plenty of rope, and I have a lot of random bits of armor and other things from my stock. Which, if you believe that's a good idea to do, Sir James, then obviously I can oil them and dry them in the morning. I'm willing to. I'm willing to.
I think Eric in particular is recommending that. I think he would be. I think we should follow his advice. I mean, we have seen some extraordinary things. I mean, they were probably a weird form of night bird or owl, but I still think they were quite dangerous. And we did lose two of those sailor chaps as well, if you remember, and a mule. In fact, we lost a mule first. So I think we should be sensible, because it's just a little extra work for William in the morning to pack up everything.
Yes, and Shad?
Yes.
Would oil cover the smell?
You'll need to try it and find out. You don't know yet. But William, just on the talk of the iron and the goblin kind of mentioned by Fintred, is you recall the children's song that they sing whenever they play their like in this world hide and seek is called Goblin. And right. It comes to your mind because you've had more interaction, you've heard it, and it's Goblin want to eat. Flesh of children is his meat. In the dark and I can't see, sing a song so I can flee. Better hide, without iron we will die. And you wonder if there might be some old wisdom in such a tale, such a little song, as to it might actually come from something in your mind.
Yeah. Well, I can be wondering that whilst I'm making a nice big fire.
Wonderful. And so you guys are hanging up the iron. Talon, as you start to unpack your supplies, oddly, you find Alethier's breastplate and sword, kind of tucked in, buried with some of the stuff, for some reason.
I say, Alethier, this is yours, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I was afraid of losing it in the water. That's why I put it there. I hope you don't mind.
I thought you'd thrown it into the water.
No. I was just afraid of losing. This is the sword of my father.
Talon, you will notice something very odd about this breastplate and sword. From what you can perceive, this isn't made of steel. It's way too bright and shiny.
Is this silver?
Yes, it's a form of silver.
How is it strong enough?
It's an alloy. Typical of, just some people in a very obscure region of the south.
I've never seen anything like this before. Where does it come from?
It's something from my family, passed down through generations.
Fintred walks up and says, "The whole thing is silver? It must be worth a fortune." Well, not a full fortune.
Plated. Silver plated.
Oh, silver plated.
Yeah.
Fake. Bet it's light leaf gilding.
It's a good way to prevent rust, of course. I have heard of silver plating before, but I've never seen it with my own eyes. Very, very nice. Would you consider selling it?
I'll give it some thought.
I'm sure we can come to an agreeable price.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm attached to it sentimentally.
And what about the breastplate?
The same thing, but I'll consider your offer, and I thank you for that.
Raf, could you roll a perception?
Yeah. Right. I've got 2. Gosh, tonight, what's wrong with me?
I'll get you all to roll a perception then. Alethea doesn't hear anything, but some of you might.
It's because I need to cover my ears.
Yeah, good point.
5.
Does anyone get a 3 or higher?
I got a 3.
3? Okay. Talon and William, as you're talking, you hear the faintest giggle in the wind.
Oh,
do we need to start making noise again? Do we? I could do with a fight.
Did you all hear that?
Hear what?
Yep.
The noise.
Another giggle.
I didn't hear anything. What was it?
Just leave me to build the fires up, yeah? I'll get on with it. Right, yeah, fine.
What worked last time? Was it noise worked last time? I mean, we could use the oar to hit the water again. Was that good?
So Alethea, if you're picking up on their reaction that they've heard something, you've probably realized that you're holding your breastplate and a sword, and it's not in with iron. It's not in with iron at the moment.
Oh, goodness gracious. Mr. Tillstone, since I'm considering whether I should sell it or not, but maybe I just don't want it here. I just want to see it. I'm rather upset. So if you don't mind, I just want to see how it looks together with the rest of your stuff, if that's okay.
Well, I understand. I come to many different arrangements with people, and of course, I'm willing to look after it for you for a while.
Maybe, yeah, for tonight, or if you don't mind, until we go through this forest. Thank you.
We can talk about storage fees in the morning.
It might be your size.
Yes. For now, let's just nudge ourselves back on track.
Okay, so being very nervous, especially Finch's like, bloody fairies are coming again. Where are they? We have to bury yourselves in the ground. I don't know. Throw William in. They'll take him first. They like to see. If they kill someone, they go off way. Wait. Oh, I can't hear them anymore. He looks to William. Don't worry, William. We don't need to sacrifice you this time. It's okay.
What's the captain and the boatman, the remaining boatmen doing?
They are looking very remorse. They lost 2 acquaintances. It could be friends, could be family. You don't know, but they're very just shaken, and they're sticking close to the boat. They're staying on the boat, in fact, but they're trying to tie things off, get it secure, doing what they need to do, just in a state of shock.
And are our animals showing any signs of agitation again, or? They're
still agitated, but they're not looking. They're not looking at anything and you don't hear anything as you listen at the moment.
Can I gather the party, that is the 4 of us without the boat crew, together to have a quiet word?
Indeed you can. Is Fintrid included in this party?
No.
He's going to try and join in the conversation. So he'll be like, yes, what's going on? Yeah.
I'd like a quiet word with my fellows, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course, go right ahead. Not a problem. And instead, he looks at you with a smile. He thinks he's one of the fellows.
I look at him and tap my foot.
What's wrong? Do you need to go to the toilet? I would say take someone with you. Be wary of Alethea, Ellie guy, and William.
I will keep my eye on him for you.
Fitz, maybe you could hang these over there. I would, but it's me arms.
That's peasant work. Do you not know how to hang things? Look, if you don't know how to hang things, I'll show you, and then I expect you to do it every single time. You do it this way.
It's me.
Okay.
I could take him on one side, you guys talk, and then come back and swap. I could take him for a quiet. I'm going to suggest that Finisterre or whatever he's called. I go and have a chat with him, sort of mano a mano, about something meaningless, while you three have a conversation, and then I will come back to you, and you can fill me in. How about that? So, Finisterre, tell me some stories about your families. I hear they do remarkable parties back at the other castle.
I tell you, my mother-in-law is so fat that she couldn't fit through the castle door. And there's my uncle. Do you know my uncle cheated me out of 20 silver? And he just keeps rattling on as you walk away. Yeah.
Okay, so I take Eilithir and William off to the side. Gentlemen, and William, I'm sure that you are both as concerned as I am about this arrangement. Clearly, they are not telling us the full story of this watchtower, who controls it, why they're attacking the barge, what permissions they do or don't have. I feel like we are way in over our heads here, and that's even besides these creatures that have assaulted us this evening. I think we need to stick together until sun up, and then we need to come to a decision about what we're going to do with or without this boat crew, because I feel that we're either being used or we're being led into a trap.
I understand. You do have a point, but now we outnumbered them, I believe.
So I don't believe there's any danger. I don't believe there's any danger to us from them. I think we could kill them in a heartbeat if we wanted to. They're poorly armed, poorly trained, and they look like a bunch of cowards. I don't think there's any danger whatsoever from them. But I think where they're taking us is far more worrying. And I think it most likely that they're using us as henchmen. They're using us as bodyguards, as muscle. But the other alternative possibility is that they are, for some reason, taking us to someone else who will then do with us whatever they are planning. I don't know.
You're saying that these bargemen have led us into an ambush that killed 2 of them and took them by surprise.
Oh well, no, I don't think that these creatures that attacked us are any part of their plan. I believe that was completely outside their plan.
They knew that they were there.
But they sail these waters regularly, and they say that they've never seen these creatures before. So I think what happened with these creatures was as unexpected for them as it was for us. But there's something else.
I don't think they're the problem. I think it's our boy Fritz. He's the one who's decided to come this way. He's the one who's got us onto this barge. And he's the one who claims to be acting on the authority of the king and the count and all sorts of other people. And yet, when it actually comes to the crunch, he never actually does anything in the name of. And do you believe that letter?
No. What I suggest we do is we sit out the night, we survive the night, stick together, watch each other's backs. And then when sun's up in the morning, we reassess and decide what to do next.
Yes, and if push comes to shove, we'll be prepared.
Watch yourselves. I'm not going to get any sleep tonight.
It's not worth sleeping tonight. You can sleep when you're dead.
And with that, the scene comes to a close. What will happen to our intrepid adventurers? Will they survive? Blah, 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 and all that fun, narrator stuff. But that has been phenomenal fun. And so we will wind down this session, and just makes me look very much forward to what happens next, because I know what's going on. And I love seeing the discussion of what the players are thinking might be going on. So thank you, everyone, for joining us as well. We hope to see you in the next one as well. And until then, we shall see you later. But I will let our wonderful players also say farewell.
Bye.
And you can...
Oh, well.
Cheerio. Thank you for watching.
Bye. Thank you for watching.